All right. Uh, Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much. It's a working day. Thank you for joining in. Primarily, I wanted to get this call going because this Saturday when I was running with a few people, I realized that the volume has considerably increased for a lot of the runners over the last couple of weeks. But while the volume is going up, I still feel that we lack discipline in terms of the nutrition, the fueling, what we are eating, what we are drinking, how much, when, what. We need to. I wanted to discuss that. We have a lot of new runners in this group. We have experienced runners, some old school people. So I wanted to make this call a conversation where I would want to bring in people with their experiences because I will discuss a scenario where this is what is needed. But looking at runners, everybody's gut, everybody's needs, everybody's reaction to foods, gels, electrolytes changes. So we will keep expecting people to add in. So feel free to make this a conversation. Wherever you want to add in something, feel free to pitch in and share your experiences. We're gonna be on this call for about an hour. In case there are any topics which we are still not able to cover, we'll get a follow-up call in this. So maybe we can have another call in a couple of days. So we do cover all the points, but I'll try to cover up as much as we can in this call. Right? So what we're going to look at is we're going to look at a couple of things. First thing, what we're going to look at is understanding what your calorie requirement on a daily basis would be, so that when we are running, when we are training, and when the days when we are not training, we understand what is the kind of nutrition that has to be taken in. Why this will be important, we'll discuss that. We're going to talk about pre-runs on the training days, during the runs, and post the runs. All these factors will be discussed here. So first thing that I wanted to get this thing clear is that for all you runners, as a matter of all endurance athletes, food is which gives you the fuel. Okay, if you are into endurance running, into long distance running, you need to eat. We are not on a diet plan and we are not on a lose weight program that we don't eat because then that's where we are running. If you're not going to be eating, not just on the runs, also during the week, you will not have sufficient energy to fuel you for that run. So, food is your best friend over here. Now, when I say food is your best friend, the options which you make in that food is what needs to be a little more mindful. Anybody understand what BMR is? Anybody has any clue? Can add in what BMR would mean?
Basal metabolic rate.
Right? What does it mean?
And on a normal day, how much my body burns in the form of calories.
Right. Awesome. I think perfect. So for an individual, whether we are training or we are not training, you need energy to do your basic activities. You need energy for your organs to move. You need energy to, do your basic things, not training. That's BMR, basal metabolic rate. This is purely dependent on your height, your weight, nothing else. Now, the days you're not training, you have a specific BMR. The days you are training, because you have extra calorie burn you're doing, you need to cover that calorie intake. Now, how do I know my BMR? You can simply go to any of the websites, just put BMR, you will get a little calculator, put your height, put your weight, put the kind of workouts or kind of lifestyle you live, put over there, you'll get your BMR. So let's say, for example, I have a BMR of 1800. That means I have to eat 1800 calories every day, as simple as it gets. Now, this is where I live a very, very basic life where I get up, I go to work, I come back, I do my basic work again, and I sleep. That's 1800. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. Now, the days when you do, let's say, a 10K run or a 15K run or a half marathon, you burn calories. So you need to cover up those calories in your daily nutrition. So let's say if you burn 500 calories in your training, so 1800 plus 500, 2300 would be your calorie requirement. Why this is important? If you go in a calorie deficit, for example, if you need 2300 calories on the day you train, but I decided not to eat. I decided I'm not hungry or I'm on a lose weight program or I missed my meal. I consumed only 1500 calories that day. Or simple reason, I'm not tracking my calorie intake. What's going to happen? You're in a calorie deficit of 800. You needed energy. Calories is what gives you energy. So you are on a calorie deficit already, 800 calories. So what will it happen? Your body is in a deficit. You've not given enough nutrition to your body. Your recovery is slowed down because you did not put in protein in your body. Yeah. So you've done a Saturday long run, you underfueled yourself. Sunday morning, you were sleeping, you were resting, doing basic family work. Again, Monday morning when you wake up, you have to have a strength workout. Saturday, Sunday, generally, we did not count our calories again. My requirement was 1800. I covered up by around 1500. We are again in the calorie deficit. 2 consecutive days after heavy workouts, Monday morning when I wake up, what happens? I'm low on energy. So when I come for a strength workout, generally will come, coach, recovery nahi hui. I'm feeling low on energy. I'm feeling lethargic. This is just 2 days I'm talking about. Tuesday morning when you get up, you have a run again. Generally you have intervals or you have the drills where your intensity is high. Again, body energy is low. And what are we doing then? We are compiling the deficit after a week, 10 days. You suddenly come back to me saying, coach, run aaj achhi nahi hui because energy nahi aa rahi thi. So here we are talking about not what you do on the run training day, what you're doing, compiling things over and over again. So your daily nutrition intake has to be monitored by each one of you on a regular basis. Now, initially, it will be a little painful because you might not know what we eat, how much we eat. There are a lot of these applications which are available, free applications on the phone. Yes, it's a tedious task of 5 minutes of inputting what you're eating. I'm not asking you to do this for the next 1 year. I'm asking you to do this for the next 15, 20 days. Get a ballpark figure of how much you're eating, what is the kind of nutrition intake you're taking. So what happens is that when I'm eating this much of quantity of food, morning, evening, or morning, afternoon, evening, I compile these much calories I'm eating. So I'm understand. So I'm not 100% accurate, but I am plus minus 5, 7%, which works. Yeah. So that is something I would want you to start looking at of monitoring how much you're eating. Yeah. When you're eating as an endurance athlete, carbs is your best friend. Okay. Carbs does not make you fat. It's your energy source. What kind of carbs you're going to eat is a choice which you guys have to make. A chole bhatura plate is also carbs. A plate of salad is also carbs. Peanut butter bread is also carbs. You got to make a choice what you're going to eat. A big bowl of overnight soaked oats with nuts is good mix of carbs and fats. What you want to make a food choice is your call. But something which is nutritious, something which has macronutrients, which has good, positive food value for you to be eating. If I look at my plate, I would look at in that plate, 50% of the food should be my carb source, 30% should be from protein, 20% should be from my good fats. That's how your plate should look like 50, 30, 20. Yeah. Whether you're training, whether you're not training, it should be something similar. As we start increasing your volume, we might want to increase the quantity of the calories we are taking, but the composition of your macros remains the same. Protein is slightly on the higher side here because we need to look at recovery. We need to ensure that we do not get injured. All right. So that's something which I want you to start monitoring. That is what will create your base for recovery, for good energy, and ensuring that when we get ready for a Saturday long distance, we are topped up with good food, nutrition, and we have energy to do the run. Clear? Any questions? Anybody still here?
Hey, Jatin.
Yeah, Vijay.
Can you give us some examples of what good fat is? You say 20% of the plate should be good fats. What would that entail?
I look at good fats in a very simple way of a lot of nuts, seeds. I eat a lot of avocados. That's the basic which I do. We can always look at different various options in terms of what you want to pick it up, whether you're a vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Purely looking at nuts and seeds is a good option for you. Akrout, badam, these days, if you're there at the swim, there was a macadamia nuts which were given. They were great. That's something which goes in. Generally, in my protein shake, I do put nuts and seeds. That's like the perfect source. Spoon of peanut butter just works out better.
And 30% protein on the plate, would dal and sabji suffice, or do we necessarily have to take in, uh, chicken and fish every other day?
I would primarily suggest you to have if you're a non-vegetarian to have protein in your meal. You should look at having at least chicken once a day. That will give you good enough protein that will cover up. Looking at what your food options would be. If you're a vegetarian, there are good vegetarian options also available. We can look at a good list for from the vegetarians who are putting in veg resource. We can look at good soya options. Protein shake is a perfect option to refill. um, uh, there is no harm in taking protein shake powder once a day, one scoop, depending on what your calorie intake is. It's no harm. So I think as endurance runners, that should be a part of your daily nutrition, no matter what. The days you are training, for sure. The days you're not training, 100%, because that's the day when the body needs recovery and good fuel to recover. That's something we should look at. Options of pea protein or whey protein is something which you can always pick up depending on what works with your gut. There are a lot of options available in the market now. So you can take small tasters, see what works with your gut. It takes about 4 to 8 days for the protein powder to settle into your gut. You might feel constipated, nausea, but for a couple of days, enough hydration during the day will settle it down. But yes, you have to make sure that you have that enough protein, right?
Yes. One more thing, on the protein shakes you mentioned, typically, I mix and match a lot of things in the shake. I hope, putting protein powder, nuts, milk, yogurt, some of these things together doesn't, make the stuff lose some of its good quality, because you keep hearing a lot of people say don't mix nuts with protein, or powder with yogurt. Does it make any difference if you mix everything together and have it in the morning?
So my question is, do you feel recovered in the morning? Are you injury free right now? Do you feel the energy system is working fine or your gut is fine? If it's working, I think it's absolutely okay. There are different theories coming every day. I think as long as there is no substantial facts which are out, I think people will start talking. I mean, especially there's so much of information, channel of information available. So I think if it's working with your gut, if you're working on the training is going well, just stick to it. Simple as that.
Uh,
Don't cut copy anything else from that.
Cool. Thanks.
Right now, before I move on, a quick thing which I would want everybody to take a note of. Just give me 1 second. I want everybody to take a note of is to get a check on when was your last blood test done. Okay. Now, if you're not sure what kind of blood test has to be done, I have a list ready. I can share it with you. Um, Very important thing for our endurance athletes is your B12, vitamin D. I would like to see your sodium levels, your magnesium levels. All right. Iron for women, but for men as well. Hemoglobin and iron is something which has to be checked. All this training, all the nutrition can be the best, but if all our levels are lower, so if you generally do your blood test, you are min and max. As an endurance athlete, you should not be on the average, okay? Because average is for a normal person who is not into endurance sports, who's not doing 3, 4, 5 hours of training a week. You have to be slightly on the higher side. If you are on the lower side or an average side, once your report is out, or if you've done your report test in the last 3 months, a great idea would be to meet a physician, get your supplements in magnesium, fish oil, B12, vitamin D, iron. These 5 things is something which should be there as a part of a supplementation. If the numbers are substantially low, your energy levels are going to be low, your recovery will be slow. So this is something which I would want everybody to look at it very, very closely,
Coach,
right?
how frequently should the tests be done?
I would recommend for women at least every 6 months. For men, I think once in 9 months, 10 months is sufficient. But for you girls, have to be once in 6 months for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, somebody was asking a question, and when I was talking, yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, coach.
Yeah.
Coach, on calories, obviously, मतलब उतना possible तो नहीं है that we are kind of able to count every day, etc. Like you said, I think 10, 15 days, of course, gives you a pattern for sure.
Yeah.
कितना नुकसान है, say for example I need 2000 calories
Yeah.
all inclusive, and on almost daily basis if I am say ranging between say 2300 2400, उस चीज का कितना नुकसान है in terms of performance and in terms of our running
That
etc.
means you're on the higher side, is what you're saying?
Higher side, yes.
See, if you're on the higher side, what is happening is you are accumulating. And if you're accumulating, your weight gain is there. As a runner, you would want to watch that weight closely. So, yes, for a couple of days, yes, you can play around. You're an endurance athlete, so you're running, so that's okay. But if you are doing it for a longer period, of course, you'll be landing up understanding what your weight is. Now, another thing, what you can do is if you know you're doing it, it'll be a good idea for you to quickly get your BMI done. So BMI basically you get your weight, your protein levels, your bone density, your fat percentage check. You would know what's happening into your fat percentage also. So if you are increasing your fat percentage but your weight is stable, that's also it's a negative source, right? So that's something which we want you to look at. Yeah. Cool.
Jatin,
Coach,
Sorry.
sorry.
Who wants to start? DJ?
go on. Okay. So, follow up to Gautam's question,
Yeah.
the one way I keep a track of my calories, I mean, and one doesn't do these checks every day on what one is eating. But generally, since one is aware of what one should be having every day, for me, the indicator is my weight every day, post my breakfast. If that is constant, do you think one has taken in enough calories? Because one tends to lose probably 500 grams to a kg after every run, depending on how long the run is. But if you reach back to the same 70 kg weight every day, then is that an indicator that you are taking in enough?
I think the first thing what I would request is to get off that scale. That scale is not my biometric test to tell me that whether I am getting fitter or where my weight is increasing. Now, your weight is a constituent of your fat percentage, your bone weight, your water content, and your overall body totals up to into your weight. So yes, you are absolutely right that when you do a long run, you will lose a lot of water. For us, for a few like me, I sweat a lot. My sweat rate is much higher, so I tend to lose more. But that's just momentary. By end of day, you would have finished up and you would have drank a lot of water and the weight would have come back. So don't measure your weight after long runs. You need to just make sure that you focus on your calorie intake and you're measuring a big measure is that when you wake up in the morning, how do you feel? Yeah. Are you feeling energetic? Are you feeling small niggles and pains? Everybody will certainly have on a Sunday morning because you've done a hard run or a long run. But how do you feel as a trend in the morning when you wake up? You're lethargic during the day. You feel sleepy after having a lunch, or you are kind of slacky all the time. So these are testers which you should be looking at more importantly rather than the weight. Yeah, so that's
Sure,
something we
got
should
it.
look at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Manoj, so you have a question saying, when can you take a protein shake? For me, if you've done a hard run within 30 minutes, post a hard run or hard workout, yes, you should. If during the day you want to eat something and you don't have any other option, I would mind you replacing it with a protein shake any time of the day. Yeah, if you missed out in the morning, but if you want to take it during later in the evening, it absolutely okay. As long as the protein is going into your system and it's helping you repairing your system. Yeah, so that should be all right. Sure. Kusum, you were asking something. Sorry, I interrupted. I think you did ask them.
Yes, Coach.
Yes,
Coach, I
please.
have two questions. One,
Yeah.
in terms of protein. So, like, I have read a lot. If my body weight is 60 kgs, and if I'm an endurance athlete, the amount of protein in grams that I should be consuming should it be 60 grams or 1.2 of the body weight?
I would change this for women here. For men, generally we say 1 to 1.5. Now, why you're saying two different numbers is because for a woman, pre-cycle, I would want her to be on a less protein and a high carb diet. So yes, 0.6 to 0.8 should be compared to your body weight. Post your cycles, I would say 1 to 1.2 because that's where you need more protein. So I would play around with your protein intake pre-cycles and post-cycles for women. For men, if you're an endurance athlete, 1 to 1.5 is absolutely okay. The only thing what you need to do is you need not consume a lot of protein together. The body can only absorb that much. What's going to happen is you will feel that you're eating. So, for example, let's say you think that, okay, I did not take enough protein today. So, oh, instead of one scoop, I'll take 2 scoops of protein. It's a waste. You've taken 2 scoops, you've given yourself a mental satisfaction, your system mein chala gaya, but the body only absorbs not more than probably 3/4 to 1 scoop of what you've taken. That's what the body absorbs. The rest is all goes out of your system. So if I would want to take protein, I would take a scoop now. Maybe during later in the evening, I'll take another scoop. So body absorbs it much better. Yeah.
Okay, coach.
So that's yeah.
Yes, perfect. And coach, one more thing. What is the role of magnesium in the diet?
So magnesium is a very, very important mineral for your recovery, muscle recovery. It's a great supplement to get you into a good sound sleep, eases out your heart rate. So these two aspects are very, very important. So I would personally recommend folks who have issues in the night, not having good sleep, magnesium should be added immediately into your system. Again, if you have any kind of reactions to any kind of medicines or supplements, consult your physician. But I think magnesium is something you should look at having it into your system before the night, before you sleep. That's something we should do.
Only once a day?
Once a
Only
day before you sleep in the night. Before you hit the bed, have a magnesium tab. Really works.
Thanks, coach.
Yeah.
Coach, is there any time for taking vitamins or protein also?
Vitamins generally go post your breakfast in the morning. It has to be absorbed. So you want to make sure that you're not empty stomach. So that's something we should take. Iron is something we should always take empty stomach. But all your vitamins, all your fish oil has to be taken post meal, so the absorption is faster into your system.
iron. I take an iron tab. I have low HB.
Yeah.
So
When have you
I
been
take an
advised
iron
to
tab.
take
So
it?
it has to be
Empty stomach, right?
no.
Just check
I
with the
take it at
physician.
night actually.
Just check with the physician once,
Okay.
because as
And
for my
so the dietitian tells, okay, so omega, she said, as soon as I wake up, take omega with a glass of lukewarm water. Then
okay,
Centrum, or that multivitamin that I take, that is post breakfast. The magnesium
breakfast.
is at night and
Yeah.
iron is at night. So she has given me timings for all of these. So is that, I mean, you're saying, but it should be taken post
I think
something
if
to
you're if
eat?
you're if you're already taking a professional help, I think I would like to go with that. She would have certainly checked your blood reports, and she would have checked into your complete reports, right? That's why she's giving you all
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I would suggest you to stick with that. The thumb rule generally is all these supplements are to be taken post a meal for better absorption. But your iron has to be empty stomach, and we should not have any tea, coffee an hour before and after that. Just creates a lot of acidity into the stomach. That's was the whole idea. But again, if she's checked your report, if you're taking professional help, stick to that. She must be following a specific program with you. You're on a weight loss with her, right? And it's working for you.
Yeah, it's
Then stick with
so
that.
that's what so coach, I am already in a calorie deficit diet.
Yeah.
So because I'm on a weight loss diet. So I face this. So after the Saturday run, I usually go off to sleep. I
Yeah.
cannot stay awake when I come
Right.
back home. And for the past two runs, when I wake up, my body is fully stiff, um my
Have
back
you
is
have you
hurting.
shared this feedback with Tina?
I have. I
Has
have.
she
So
made any
she's
changes?
no, she has not yet, but she said I'll check and I'll get back to you. So I told her that I have a so anything that I can suggest to her. She said whatever you do during the run, your electrolytes, your gels, whatever it is, you take that, all of that, whatever you want. But that before and after she has specified. So when I wake up, I take nuts, I take dates, I can take figs before the run. Post run, I have a specific meal to take. So, uh, yeah,
So,
that's how
so
it
Anuja,
is.
I would like to work on this where you have to work with her in terms of you have to show her your training plan. You have to tell
Okay.
her that your volumes are increasing because we cannot work on a weight loss program and endurance long distance running together. Okay, that's very clear. So if we are working on a weight loss program, we want to ensure that we stick to the volume which is manageable. So we pull back on the volume. A. If you want to work on the volume or you're training for a specific event, then we need to move over from the weight loss program and we need to keep filling in our nutritionist with our training program, saying that I have, let's say, 5 hours of training this week, or I have 6 hours of my volume is increasing. So you have to have that much of calorie, otherwise you will not sustain. What's going to happen is if you don't follow it, your nutrition is falling. The way you're saying that you're making your body stiff, you're going to get injured. So you have to work where she takes the plan, she understands the plan, and she gives you nutrition accordingly. That's what all sports nutritionists do generally. So in this case,
Then
I would
the next
suggest
time,
speak to her. Speak to her.
yeah, when I visit her, I'll take my plan
Please
and
do
I'll show
that.
her.
Show it to her.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, quickly, I'm going to move into our training day. So let's
Sorry,
say,
Yatin, just I missed the part about the magnesium intake you mentioned. Is it okay for everyone to take magnesium in the night before sleeping
I
without
would
any
personally,
prescription?
I would personally recommend, yes, it's a supplement. You can easily take it, but like I said, if you have any kind of allergic reactions, to any kind of supplement in the past or any kind of mineral tablets you've taken, it's always good to get a blood test done and see how your magnesium levels are. But ideally, it's a doable thing. Everybody can take.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, moving to a training day. So I'm going to talk about pre, during, post. And I'm primarily talking to you about different time zones of training which we're doing. So as a thumb rule, if your training is only till 60 minutes, we don't have to load up ourselves. We don't have to plan what we are doing pre. We don't have to do during. We don't have to do post. Keep it simple on plain water. Okay, 60 minutes, your body has enough glycogen stored. Whether it is a hard set of intervals, whether it's an easy endurance run or an aerobic run, 60 minutes, your body can manage anything. Yes, there are days when you have some crazy intervals. You might feel low on energy. You can, if it's a really, really hot day, you can add a little bit of electrolytes, stick some salts in. You don't have to eat anything, guys. Your system has enough energy stored with you. So 60 minutes, don't come with a bowl of dates and gels and keep it in the car. 60 minutes करना है नहीं, कुछ जरूरत नहीं है. पानी की बोतल लो और शुरू हो जाओ. अगर ज्यादा गर्मी लग रही है, आपको लगता है your set rate is higher, you tend to sweat more, put 2 tablets, you should be all right with that. That's it. You don't need anything more than that. Anything which goes beyond 60 minutes or an hour is where I want you to start paying attention to it. Whether it's an hour easy aerobic run or you know that you're going to get into longer thing, what you need to start doing is you need to look at fueling yourself. Fueling would mean eating good carbs. Anywhere from 60 to 80 carbs in that hour is good. Now, that doesn't mean that you will first train for that hour and then start loading up. If you know that your training is going to go for about 90 minutes or 2 hours, we start planning ourselves that I have to start fueling myself within the first 30 minutes. Now, that fuel is carb source. Carb source could be solid food, could be gels, totally up to you. Now, solid food would mean dates, nuts. Any other options, anybody?
Banana.
Banana, perfect. Potato, perfect. Works with good salt on it, works out fine. Gels, yes. There is no harm in taking gels. A gel in your long session is absolutely okay. Yes, it is not a natural product. It has sugar in it, but you need that sugar to burn. Now, training phases would totally depend on what kind of gels you're taking so that when you start building up, you know that these gels are comfortable with me. My gut is comfortable. Remember, whenever you're training yourself physically, you're training yourself mentally to get yourself mentally stronger. And third important aspect is you're training your gut. You're teaching your system what food to eat, what not to eat, what gel to take, what not to take. There are multiple brands available in the market for gels. Some gels work for me, some gels don't work for me. Some gels flavors work for me, some don't work for me. This is some hit and trial method which you need to start working on. Yeah. Now, recently there are a lot of these products which have launched, which are the carb drinks. Unived has a product which they have launched where it's a sachet which has a high carb product. So you literally don't have to eat, you can consume carbs. Guys, can you please mute the mic, please? Yeah, thank you. All right, so you can take the liquid carbs also. It is good about, I think a sachet is good about 200 to 250 calories. A lot of my triathletes have switched over. So this Sunday they were not eating anything; they were drinking through the bottle. So it's a sachet powder. Mix it, shake it, keep drinking it. So that's something you can try. It's again totally depends on how your gut absorbs that system. So instead of carrying a lot of these food items and all, you can always try that product. So important numbers to remember, about 60 to 80 grams of carbs every hour. We can look at that means anywhere from around 180 to 200 calories per hour. Now, how that happens, you can simply pick up any gel. You can pick up, look at how many calories it has. So you know how many calories you're eating. You pick up any food product. If you Google it, you will get to know what is the calorie it has. अगर उससे नहीं पता चलेगा, there are these applications you put in, okay, one date, one banana, how many calories. So you can easily find the calorie count. This numbers, this maths is something you have to prepare yourself with. So you exactly know that today I have a 2 hour run. Per hour, let's say, for example, burn about 400 calories. 2 hours I'm going to run, I'm going to burn 800 calories. So I need to cover up, not exactly 800 calories. You can't cover up. You can't be eating 800 calories in that 2 hours. But what you can do is you can start looking at completing and filling up as much as you can. So about 200 of that is good. You will always finish your run with a calorie deficit, but something which you can all keep eating to give you that energy. A good way to know what your calorie burn is through your Garmin. Our numbers are not 100%, but yes, it is still gives you a good ballpark figure. So after a 1 hour run or let's say a 15K run, it always gives you your calorie burn. So just keep that number. So you'll get a good idea that how much you're averaging as a trend into your longer runs.
So, coach, that would be what, like, say around 70-80% of the total calories burned?
Yes. Somewhere around that, you might not be able to cover it 100%. You cannot. But yes, I'm talking about not even 70, 80. I'm talking about good 60, 70%. Because what you're looking at is also is fueling yourself through liquids. So electrolytes are also going into your system. You're eating food. So that's this food is giving you instant energy. Yeah. So you need to cover up that calorie burn. Yes, you will cover the deficit later on post run when we talk about that. So during, so the most important thing what I'm saying is now any workout or any run which is less than 60 minutes, plain water. Hot weather conditions, yes, electrolytes, cold electrolytes are good. Nothing more than that. No solid food, no gels, nothing at all. You're just unnecessarily loading. Anything goes beyond an hour, we are looking at 180 to 220 calories per hour, about 60 to 80 grams of carbs. That's what we're looking at with food. Food sources, the menu is your choice. Whether you work potatoes, sweet potatoes, nuts, seeds, whatever works for you, it's your menu. That is what has to be worked on for you. Something works for you, something doesn't. But a lot of these energy bars we use, you can test that. What energy bar, how it's done. That is for food. Now, food is something which gives you all the calories. The other thing, the second thing is we talk about is hydration. So this is nutrition. We're talking about fueling, that is what you're drinking. 700 to about 750 to about 800 milliliters of energy drink, which is high in sodium and magnesium. All right, not plain water. When you're doing anything longer than an hour, we do not need plain water. Plain water works opposite to what an electrolyte drink will do to us. Yeah. So first, let's talk about electrolyte drink. We need to have a drink which is high on sodium, we are high on magnesium, and which is high on, it has a little bit of potassium, works in different ways. Nibu pani doesn't work. Pani mein nibu or namak dal ke, that doesn't work. Those are old school, right? I still know a lot of people follow that. Okay. There are a lot of energy drinks available. They are well researched. They are technical products. Please use it. These are the differences of how you can improve your runs, improve your performance when you start taking these products. If you still stick to the old school, you will start realizing what difference it makes when you start eating and drinking this product. Right? Now, that's something which you need to start testing out. Now, what energy drink is something which you need to work on. something which you can carry easily, because if you're doing a longer run, if you're carrying, let's say, a bottle or a bag, and if you need to refill that bag, if you want to carry a sachet or tab, I personally use Fasten Up. It works wonders for me. Again, choices are yours. Totally depends on you want to have Univet, Fasten Up, or you want to bring in some international products. If you get traveling, it works fine. Clear? Any questions till now from you guys?
Which I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So I have been regularly using the hydration bag.
Yeah.
And I've always been, so more than 60, 90 minutes and all, I always carry my bag with me.
Right.
So some of the long runs, I mean, 20 plus kilometers and all, which we have done, right? I have sometimes faced the challenge of overhydration. And I'm not able to understand. So while this thumb rule of, 750, 800 milliliters of energy drink or electrolytes which we're having, somewhere along the way, kind of, I have had one or two instances where I have drunk too much of water. So you start feeling heavy because of the excess fluid which is being taken. Can you suggest how to balance that part?
Yeah.
And then you start wondering whether, whether I am using the right strategy by carrying so much of water, or whether I need to rethink that. So that challenge comes every now and then.
Correct. So that's a very, very common issue and a problem with people who are into endurance sports. Now, it is not about overhydrating. It's purely a mix of a lot of stuff in your gut. Remember, you've been eating probably 2, 3 gels by that time. You would have drank roughly about a liter to about 1.5 liters of energy drink. Both are very, very high in carb, right? So when it goes to your system, it's creating a havoc in your gut. Your heart rate is high. What is happening is that your body temperature is high because it's hot, you're sweating. Yeah. Now, when your body temperature is high and you're already doing a lot of physical activity, the energy is not sent to your gut to digest and absorb. The energy is sent to your muscles because it knows that, boss, this guy is running, so I need to send the energy there, not the energy to my gut to absorb. So what this is where we start training ourselves more. We start understanding what is working, what is not. So if you feel that typical product which you've been taking is creating that havoc, maybe you want to try a couple of other energy drinks, right? You want to do that. If you are in the middle of the training and you already have a heavy gut, you feel you're feeling bloated, the best remedy, stop drinking that electrolyte for the next 15, 20 minutes. See if you can get hold of plain water. Because what has happened is the salts in your gel, the salts through electrolytes are excess right now. Drink water, dilute it a little. A good solution over there is if you can take a leak, if you can pee. It really eases out the gut, especially when you have a lot of liquid. So ideally, a very good symptom, whether you've hydrated well, is that when you finish an hour and a half or 2 hours of training, you should be ready to take a leak. If you don't, that means you are underhydrated. If your pee color is dark yellow, means you have not hydrated well. Ideally, you would have peed at least once or twice during your training. So that's a good symptom for you to know whether you are hydrating yourself well or not.
Okay, coach.
Yeah. So that's something which you can do as a solution where you feel you're overloaded. Drink water, just plain water for 15, 20 minutes. Don't do anything. Don't take any gels. Relax your gut. Let your gut take it easy. Let it settle in. Plain cold water will settle it more. Let it, and then you got it. Yeah.
Coach, one quick question.
Yes, I.
You mentioned the energy drinks by Fasten Up, but there are lots of variants there. So which variant to choose? Because the different variants have different purposes.
Reload.
Okay, reload.
Reload is your during the workout. There is a lot of recovery, different products. So reload is what we're looking at with electrolytes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, flavors are your choices. Some flavors work, some flavors don't work for people. It's totally personal by choice. Yeah. The idea is that you should be drinking that and taking in that. Right? Now, questions time. Please.
Sir, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, please.
Sir, how do you, one is, we have to experiment what works for us. I've experimented a lot, but my usual runs are in Gurgaon.
Okay.
So when I went for my marathon, we were prepared with, what hydration plan we have, what we're supposed to do. I followed it. Problem was, weather was good, but there was a lot of climbing. Then some days in Gurgaon itself, humidity might be high. What I had experimented on does not work then. Some days, it's too chilly, then you're too much overloaded with carbs. How do you plan for weather, terrain change, and so on?
Yeah. So, I mean, wherever, if you're racing in a different city, you can never train 100% based on that specific city's weather, temperature, terrain, right? Whether it's in the same country or whether you're going outside. That is where things like acclimatization comes in picture. That's why, whenever you're doing a out of city run, and if you have a run on a Sunday morning, Saturday is not the ideal day. Be there on a Friday where you settle in a little bit. I mean, of course, I understand everybody is working, everybody does not have the time to go there. There are a lot of strategies which you can build into your training. So I'm not going to be talking about the terrain. I'm not going to be talking about the climbs. I'm going to be talking about the weather here. Now, if the weather is hot and humid, and if you're going in a colder weather, there is no way you can train right now. The only thing what you need to do is you need to build up your training program. You cannot do 100% hydration strategy when you're training in the hot weather. Yeah. So you have to learn and get experience, and gradually then you keep understanding. What thumb rules remain the same is that you need to start hydrating and fueling yourself well. How much depends on now is the weather. So let's say if you are going from training in a hot weather and you are going in a colder weather, it works out in favor because your body is adapted to tougher conditions. When you go in a better climate, you suddenly feel you work better. If from a colder time you're going in a hotter weather, you know you're going to struggle. So what you need to do is you need to increase your fuel intake when you are doing those runs. You might want to pull back on your pacing strategy. That is where you need to work with your coach. But for fueling strategy, you have to play around with what your sweat rate is. Now, what your sweat rate, I know in your case, you sweat more. So you might want to start understanding of taking how much. You might want to take a little more when you go to these water conditions. 100% you can never train for that specific location.
Sure, sir. Sir, how energy drinks are okay. I had a lot of Coke, and that really helped. Is that we can add that too?
Absolutely. But it is not a fuel source. It's pure sugar. You will get high energy, and within 5 minutes you'll go pop. It works wonders because it changes the taste of your mouth. It gives you that fizz. पूरा alert हो जाता है. We do a lot of our triathlons with Coke and Red Bull in the end. That only works. Nothing else works. It's absolutely okay. Don't feel guilty. You stick on it. Not during the training. Maybe when you're racing.
Sure.
All right, great. I think I have a couple of questions. I don't know. Yeah.
Coach, one more on pre-run nutrition.
Yes, I'm going to cover that. I have that topic. I'm going to cover that, sir. So just give me a minute. Can we take protein shake anytime? Protein items of Gary, sir, I'll put that in the group. The blood test to be done, so you can have a list ready. Can be a little in the day as well. If yes, how much is okay? I like having reload 1 or 2 times during the day two. Uday, good question. Thank you. So the question is, can we have electrolytes in the day as well? If yes, how much is okay? I like having the reload 1 or 2 times during the day too. It's absolutely okay. I think it's a good fueling strategy during the summer days. So if you had a long run on a Saturday, you had enough fuel during that time. During the day, what you can do is you can take a liter bottle, put 2 tabs in it, and during the day, keep sipping it. It's a good idea to have your salt levels going up. Remember, if after your Saturday run, and this answer you can give it to yourself, you don't have to tell me, a lot of you would be feeling hungry throughout the day, and you would like to binge during the day. You're still feeling hungry. You have something to eat. After 10 minutes or half an hour, you still feel, I'm still hungry. It's purely because you're on a calorie deficit and your salts are low. So good idea would be to have a good heavy breakfast, keep sipping electrolytes during the day. Yeah, that is what is happening. Your salt levels are low. So you need to start fueling yourself over there. So Udevi, yes, it's absolutely okay. Will we drop right? No worry. Okay. Another thing, and I know somebody, I think who's in this group? Yeah. A lot of us complain post long runs. We have slight headache. A very, very common problem, a very common issue. It's purely because you are in a calorie deficit and your your complete electrolyte level is low. Unless you fix that, it's not going to get better. Yeah. So if you have terrible headache after long runs, it's purely because of you are low in your salt. So keep sipping up and drink more. DJ, yeah, absolutely okay, sir. Great. Any other questions for during the run, guys? Please go ahead. There's no more questions over there. Please ask.
So, Jatin sir, how frequently should we eat during the runs to keep ourselves energized?
So the thumb rule is I'm talking about an hour. So we're talking about anywhere from 180 to 200 calories an hour. Now, as a runner, what you would want to do is give yourself a good 15, 20, 30-minute interval to eat. Now, it all depends on what you're eating. If I'm sticking to gels, I would like to eat my first gel in about 40, 45 minutes if I'm doing a longer run. I prefer to stick to gels when I'm running. When I'm cycling, I eat a lot of solid food for obvious reasons that I can afford to eat solid because I'm cycling. But when I come to runs, I stick to my gels. A 45-minute first gel in. The second gel, if you are doing a longer run than 2 hours, I would say a gap of good about half an hour, 40 minutes. That again, it's something which you have to experiment in the training phase of what works for you. I know people who eat the first one in about an hour and then in about 20 minutes take another one. It totally depends on how your system is working and how your gut absorbs that. Experiment that. Try different variables of how it's working. Look at a 40, 45-minute first one, then at about an hour, 20 minutes, the second one. And if you're doing a longer run than 2 hours, maybe at about 2:05, having another one, third one. But gap it up with about 35, 40 minutes. Yeah. A good strategy would also be if you can manage it, take a gel, cut it half, suck it up half, roll it, keep it in. After 15, 20 minutes, eat the balance half. Now, the only challenge is when you roll it up, keep it into your pocket or keep it into your belt, it might leak. So that's a challenge a lot of people feel. I generally use a small little bottle when I'm cycling. I don't cut a sachet. I suck it up, tap it back, keep it in my back pocket, and I keep sipping the gel. So that generally takes 4 sachets at one time. It's a small bottle, and I use that. So it again, it's a personal choice and a preference with your training. Yeah.
If I can add to that my experience, Jatin,
Yeah.
and this is something I picked up, while running with PT, and he's here, he can add, while gels I've been having, probably after every 45 minutes an hour, but if you're keeping solid protein bars with you, then, taking a bite every 2 kilometers along with the sip of electrolyte really worked well for me, and probably that could be the intervals one
Yeah.
could also look at.
Absolutely. And I think that's what experience is. And that's what you need to start experimenting it in your training. So all your Sunday long runs, all your tempo runs where you are doing longer runs, start experimenting. Because remember, the way you train is the way you race. You cannot train in a specific way and think you're going to perform in the race in a different way. Race is just the outcome of how you're training. So if you are doing all these good habits and good practices in your training, your race will be duplicated like that. But if you are not hydrating, if you're not feeling, and if you think, "Arey, meri training improvement kyun nahi ho rahi?" Because you are not just focusing on the training bit, there are other aspects which you have to focus on. So please start planning that much better. Yeah, Sanjay sir, answers your question.
Yes, thank you. Thank
Okay,
you, Jatin.
great. Anybody? I'll then move into the pre-training bit. Okay.
So coach, there is one question. I
Yeah.
generally use a gel from Tech company, and it suits me.
I'm sorry,
And
which
earlier
company?
I had a headache, but when I Tech,
Acha. Okay, Trek.
Tech, TREW. Yeah.
Trek, yeah,
So
that's a
it
good
generally
thing.
suits me. And earlier had a headache, but now it does. I don't get it. Only the question is for a 6 hour run, getting every 30 minutes. Suppose I am taking 12 to 15 gel. Will it be good or
I'll
is it too much?
I'll let PT answer that question. PT, what do you do in a 6 hour run, sir?
So the longer the run is, obviously there would be times you cannot consume more than say 4 to 5 gels. But yes, theoretically you should be taking as many gels as you are able to. But after a while, your body will start will not accept gels anymore. So then obviously you have to start training with substitutes for that. Or if you still want to consume gels, try and take it in a diluted form. If you just add a little bit of water to it, it will be easier for you to take it in, and it gets absorbed easily. So that is again like what you practice during your run, a 6 hour, or 4 hour, or 5 hour, you will be doing that in your run.
So Alok, yes, gel is the primary source. What you need to start adding to this is that, when you take these walk breaks or when you start doing these rest intervals, you need to start putting in some solid food. But that solid food should be tested in the training, which is comfortable in the gut, which is absorbed easily, very low in fiber. Otherwise, the next thing you know is that you will be taking a loo break. फाइबर कम होना चाहिए, उसकी जीआई जो उसका होता है उसका इजी होना चाहिए तुम्हारे स्टमक पे, और सॉलिड फूड को थोड़ा उसमें ऐड करो. Yeah, again, the menu is
Okay,
your
coach.
option.
I take
Sorry, you take what?
I take dates and chicky.
If it's working,
Dates and chicky.
it's working fine. I think if it's working for you. What is the longest run you've done till now?
Last Saturday only 26 kilometers.
So that was about what, 2.5, 2:45, 3 hours.
3 hours.
3 hours. Yeah. So I think keep building it up. See, this is a good time for you to keep experimenting in your menu. Yeah, just keep experimenting and see what is working. So good. If these two things are working, put it in your database कि ये दो चीजें काम कर रही हैं, बढ़िया है. और दो चीजें पूछो आसपास रनर्स के साथ कि वो क्या लेते हैं, ट्राई करो उसको लेके, जो लॉजिस्टिकली भी इजी हो, वेदर कंफर्टेबल हो. ऐसी चीज ना हो कि जैसे अगर लॉट ऑफ पीपल सजेस्ट ईट चॉकलेट्स, आप गर्म वेदर में जाएंगे चॉकलेट लेके जाएंगे, पता चलेंगे जब तक खोलेंगे पूरी मेल्ट हो जाएगी. आप और लेह लद्दाख में जाके भागेंगे वो पूरी सॉलिड होगी, वो चू करने में प्रॉब्लम होगी. So we need to start experimenting on what you are using with the weather conditions also. किस weather के लिए आप train कर रहे हो, तो क्या खाना आपको होना चाहिए आपके system.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
So we have a lot of new runners, guys, in this group. So a lot of numbers which I'm saying might feel difficult to initially in terms of eating and drinking because your system is not used to it. But if you want to get into longer distance running, please, we need to have this as an essential part. Just to share an experience, PD, if you can share what we did in our first stadium run, जो हमने करी थी गुड़गांव में, आपको याद है अगर? हमने जब आपके पैकेज बनाए रखे थे, अगर if you can share it, what we did.
So there were a couple of things we did. Was कि एक तो we had decided कि per hour we are going to consume X number of dry fruit or X amount of chocolate and X number of gels. तो उनके हमने छोटे छोटे पैकेट्स बना लिए थे. And it was कि मुझे और कुछ नहीं करना, I had to keep a track कि मेरे को वो per hour वो एक पैकेट खत्म करना ही है. और I made a point that कि अगर जैसे स्टेडियम रन है, तो एक मतलब within 1 hour I was targeting doing 25 loops. So after every 4 or 5 loop, I made sure that I popped something into my mouth. So that was the kind of timetable. It was a indirectly a schedule I made for myself. और उसको track करते करते we were able to more or less eat and consume whatever targeted calories we were thinking we should have taken in. And similar thing happened with water also, because jitni bari मैं रुक रहा था, I made sure that I had that required quantity of liquid with electrolyte and sometimes plain water also coming in.
Yeah. So it has to be planned, it has to be calculated. You need to know what you're taking, what you're eating. So that is something which you start training your gut with. So the hydration, the food, everything seems big, difficult to manage. You might even have problem eating. आप बोलोगे नहीं खाया जा रहा, कितना खाऊंगा. ये आपको धीरे धीरे अपनी हैबिट में डालना पड़ेगा. especially post your run now. If you fuel yourself well, you will find that during the day, your post your run, if you have followed up with a good post run nutrition, you will find your recovery is better. You start finding yourself the next morning, you're in a much better condition, right? So are we all okay what we need to do during the runs? What we do in the runs trainings is what we're going to go do on the race day. So there is nothing extraordinary, especially we're going to do on the race day. Udavir, yes, Garmin's have a reminder, the latest ones. How it functions, I don't know. I know a few of my triathletes also use it. They've put it on the cycling computer, but the functionality is the same. There's beeps. I can find it out for you, but if you look at your Garmin manual, you should be able to get it. But yeah, it has a beep system which reminds you to eat or drink. So yeah, you can always do that into your watch.
Can I add something here?
Yes, please.
So as a basic reminder, because I think nutrition and hydration is more a function of your time rather than the distance. So make it a point itself that after X number of kilometers or X number of meters or X number of minutes, you need to pop something in, or you need to sip on your electrolytes. So that is what I do.
I think very valid point. Calculate your nutrition not on distance. Calculate the nutrition based on the time you're spending on your feet. Purely because you can run a 10K in a little faster duration as well, or a slow duration as well. So distance will just change in terms of the intensity. The time is what you need to start calculating. That means the time you're spending on your feet. Based on that, you start planning. Okay, now I'm going to move quickly to what you need to do in the morning and post run. So in the morning, generally what we do is, if let's say you have a run, let's say I'm going to take an example of a 2-hour run. You're starting at about, let's say, 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday. You would wake up at about 4:30, settle in, freshen up, leave, come to the session, and then start running. So you have an hour. My suggestion, what you need to do is you might want to shift your wake up time to another 15, 20 minutes. When you wake up in the morning, try to eat roughly about 150 to about 200 calories in the morning before you head out. Now, what those calories are is something which you need to start planning of what you want to eat. Now, remember your last meal day before was, let's say 7:30, 8 maybe, depending on when you do your last meal. You haven't eaten anything and you've come for a long run. So you're already in a fasting state of good about 10, 12 hours. So when you start, you're already in a calorie deficit. So you need energy. You've used enough energy to sleep, get up, do your basic activities, and then come for the run. So a good idea would be to eat 150 to 200 calories in the morning. What is something which you need to look at now? What in terms of, should I be eating carbs? Should I be eating protein? Should I be eating fiber? What should I be eating? Protein is for muscle recovery, not in the morning. You need to eat a good carb-rich food. Now, what would be a carb-rich food? Would be a simple banana works, peanut butter sandwich works. I know somebody eats bun with jam. If it works for you, it works for you. I prefer oats is a very, very good source for me. It goes really well with the system. In the night, what I do is I generally take a small bowl, take 2 spoons of oats, add a little bit of nuts, put plain water, put it in the fridge. In the morning when I wake up, mix it, eat it. It works wonders for me. All right. So that's something which we can eat. Menu is yours. We need to make sure that it is carbs. If nothing else, energy bar kha lo yaar. That works. Carbs, low in protein, high in carb, should not have a lot of fiber. The next thing you know is that if you're eating fiber, you're going to have a stomachache. Once you're done, you head out. You need to ensure that you keep your hydration levels up also. A good idea would be that you have a good 15-20 minute drive from the moment you move out. So take a bottle about half a liter, add a tablet of Fasten Up, just one is good enough, and keep sipping. So that between the time you've woken up, you've eaten something, about 150 calories, you've had some electrolytes gone into your system, and then you come, your hydration levels are right at the top, your nutrition levels are good, and you have all the energy ready. If you've not done the part in the morning, you're already in a calorie deficit, your hydration levels are already low, so you're already playing a game called catch of when you start the training or when you're doing a 2-hour run. Now, A very very common question which comes to me, coach सुबह सुबह उठ के खाया नहीं जाता. I know नहीं खाया जाता because आदत नहीं है. We don't have a habit. My gut is not trained to eat anything in the morning. So what you need to do is you need to get up and start training. Thanks, PD. Very valid point. Avoid dairy. Don't have anything which goes high in terms of the GI value. मतलब जिसका आपको खा के stomach can create unnecessary problem. Yeah, protein shake is a no-no. सुबह सुबह उठ के protein shake पीकर मत आइए. खाकर आइए कुछ solid food जो body में energy देगा और absorb करेगा आपको. क्या वो food source है? Again, menu is yours. You have to keep working on it. I'm giving you a base figure of 150 to 200 calories. If you think that is too much, start with a little bit. Maybe what you can do is you can start with half a bowl or 2 spoons of oats. When you feel your body is absorbing, maybe make that 2 or 3 spoons. Maybe add the quantities. Don't eat a big bowl in the morning and come. थोड़ा quantities बढ़ाओ. But you need to start feeding your system in the morning and coming for that. Clear? That's as simple as it gets. There are some things which we need to do for the race day also. We'll talk about that later. So that's your pre. We've done our training. Now, 2 hours of run done. What do we do post that? Chai, pakode, everything is not your fueling, right? It is not your energy drink or recovery drink post a long run. You can have your chai, celebrate with your friends, it's great. What you need is post your run, you need to have a good protein breakfast, solid food, or a protein shake works well. My personal preference would be a protein shake, purely because when you drink a protein shake, it absorbs faster. When it's absorbed into the system, your recovery is faster. Any solid food you eat, it takes time for absorption and it takes time for it to get into the recovery mode. So a simple solution, take a protein shaker, बैग में रखो, अपने ट्रेनिंग किट बैग में रखो, गाड़ी में रखो, जैसी रन खत्म करी, चेंज योर क्लोथ्स, टेक दैट प्रोटीन सिपर आउट. अगर ठंडा पानी मिलता है, लो, नहीं मिलता तो कैरी अ बॉटल, मिक्स इट, शेक इट, ड्रिंक इट. Done. That's your recovery. When you get back home, have a good breakfast. Eating out totally your choice, but then start looking at eating good about 300-400 calories of good high protein diet. Carbs, yes, but should be high in protein, and then get back into the routine. Remember, first thing we spoke in the morning was BMR, where you need to cover up those calories. So when during the day, you might want to increase your calorie intake so that you can start improving your recovery. Now, sorry, there's a question which has come up saying pre-run caffeine. If it works for you, please do it. Black coffee, if it works for you, great, do it. With milk, totally depends on your system. Coffee personally doesn't work for me. I take all my non-caffeine gels as well. But again, if coffee works for you, it works for you, take it. No problem. Black coffee. But ये ना हो कि आप ट्रेनिंग में कभी नहीं पीते, सुबह रेस में खड़े पहुंच गए हो और सब ब्लैक कॉफी पी रहे हैं, तो आप भी एक ब्लैक कॉफी का शॉट ले लोगे. नेक्स्ट थिंग यू नो इज stomach has given up, your acidity, burning, whatever. So if it's working for you, please go ahead. Right. So we're good with caffeine. We're coming. Dairy products, yeah. Okay, great. Any other questions, guys? We've done pre, during, post. Coffee also helps to be a diuretic, so peeing might be an issue. Yes. Just to share a story, we had somebody who was running with us in Ladakh many years ago. He took a lot of salts, ate a lot of gels. He could not pee, and because of which his everything could bloated. He couldn't take a step forward. So we arranged black coffee in the middle of nowhere, and as soon as he drank that half a cup, he took a leak, and then he was fine. I mean, that's a story I keep telling everybody. Maybe when you have more time, I'll tell you details of it. But yes, coffee in the morning, if you're not trained for it, diuretic, that means you tend to pee more. The next thing you know is you're running and you're taking more loo breaks. So train and then take it if you're not ready for it. So yeah, thanks, Gary, sir. Any question, anybody? We already covered an hour 6. So if you have any more questions, please go ahead.
Coach, just a small question. Is
Yes,
there
sir.
any safe or recommended dosage of taking whey protein? Because I am a vegetarian, so I complete my protein intake by taking whey only. I take 2 scoops, but somewhere I read only 1 is recommended in a day.
No, it's
So
not about one or two scoops. What we discussed earlier in the call as well was that as whatever your body weight is, as a male, you're doing so much of volume in terms of your activity, you need to take what's your body weight?
it's 78.
78. So for an average 78 individual, I would need 78 grams of protein, 1%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For you, I would look at 1.5. So do the maths. That's the protein you need in a day.
Okay. But
Okay.
I
Now
can
the
take,
source. No, let me
yeah.
complete. Now,
Source can be, yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
so the source can be food or protein shake. What you need to keep in mind is, like I discussed it earlier, that if you need, let's say you're taking protein powder, okay, that's the only source. Do not take too much of protein powder. So 2 scoops will not be sufficient in terms of your body absorbing. So if I was you, I would take one in the morning, post my runs, when I do all my runs in the morning, 1 scoop. And if I have to take another scoop, I would take it somewhere around in the mid meal, say afternoon and dinner ke beech mein around 4ish. I would take. That's the time when your body needs food, your hunger pangs keep coming up. So that's the time I would take the second, because the first one got absorbed in the morning, second one later, rather than taking the 2 scoops together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, coach. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Guys, any other questions? Please shoot. Otherwise, we can always follow up later on whenever we have more of this. I would want to do this more often. I do this with my triathletes at least once in 2 weeks, where we talk, we pick up topics and we talk, depending on their training, depending on any of the sport they want to talk up. So I wanted to start with fueling. I would want to cover up a couple of more topics as well. If you have any suggestions, please give it to PT or me. We would love to, get you guys here. But thumb rule which I follow with all my athletes is, remember this phrase that you race the way you train. So if you are training, focusing on all the details and specifics, your training will get you progress better and your runs will be better. But if you miss those specifics and if you keep random things in terms of your nutrition and your hydration, your results are going to be random. They're not going to be very specific. So please focus on it. All right. One last call. Any other questions?
One more question.
Yes, sir.
What was the reason for not having protein before the run, like pre-workout?
So protein is, if you're taking a whey protein, it's a dairy product. It's not going to help your digestion. It's always going to create a problem. Protein is more for muscle recovery.
Okay.
Yeah. Your
No,
fuel
but there
source
is
is carbs.
the pre-workout thingies, C4 and all that, which has creatinine, not whey.
There is a different school of thought which we need a more longer discussion when it comes to pre-workouts and creatines. I would personally recommend to keep away, stay away.
Okay.
Creatine is not bad, but it depends what is the purpose you're taking it. Okay, there's a longer call and longer discussion we need to do it. But for now, I would suggest pre-workouts. Your carb source for your energy, endurance athletes, carb source is good. You don't need any pre-workout.
Got it. Thanks a lot.
Right. Great. Guys, I'll be putting up this call on the YouTube channel. In case anybody's missed it or you want to revisit it, you can always go and listen to it again. It'll be recorded, so it'll be there. So make the most of it. If you still have any questions, please shoot it out to me one-on-one, or you can put it in the Academy group. Love to take care of it and handle it for you guys. All right. Thank you very much for your time, guys. Take care. See you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.